everybody. This is Michelle Rhett. We're also live on Facebook as well. So those of you that are listening or that are available, please join in. Tell your friends to join in to hear me and Miss Positively Miss B talk about the 2017 Interfaith Church at Risk National Summit that is taking place November 9th through the 11th at the Renaissance Capitol View Hotel in Arlington, Virginia. We're here today to convince you that you need to register. Registration is going slow. People are saying they didn't remember. And then what we know is that there's a whole bunch of people that's waiting to register. And what they don't know, Miss B, is that the registration rates are going up October 20th. And so that is too soon because you'll miss out if you forget. So our advice to you today is going to be register now, book your rooms now. We have just reduced the hotel rate. That's how bad we are. We want you there. We want you to participate. Miss B, what were you going to ask me about it? Because I know you had some exciting questions as well. Well, let me first of all by saying, yes, the major sponsor of the 2017 Interfaith National Summit is the Sacred Veil. And the Sacred Veil is not a religious organization. The Sacred Veil is a civil rights advocacy group that advocates for the rights of many people. Of course, that's going to include your right under the First Amendment to exercise freedom of religion. And so that's how we get the churches in. The Sacred Veil provides legal resources to churches and to other nonprofit organizations that either because of their size or because of their budget cannot afford routine legal services. As you guys know, many small organizations can't afford legal services. And so what the Sacred Veil was created for, my pastor, Bishop Alfred A. Owens, asked me to do something outside of my corporation where small churches and small organizations could benefit from the type of dynamic legal services that we offer. I don't know if those of you, how many of you are on here that know me from the Michelle Rhett Show or either Church at Risk Live. You also know that we have training throughout the country called Church at Risk Live, Church at Risk, Piercing the Sacred Veil. And that training focuses on every element that's involved in the administration of houses of worship. And so therefore, because our training tells us what the churches and what other organizations needed, we created a nonprofit to go along with it. We provide, I guess, some of the most extensive services. They call them multidimensional services for organizations with regard to every element of what you do, your administration, your leadership teams, and of course the legal impact of those leadership teams. So when we sat down and decided what we would do with our national summit, we thought we would make it more open to the general public by making it a strategic meeting. So this is an all-inclusive gathering of some of the best business and legal minds in the nation coming together to help the faith-based community navigate through the complexities of legal issues and the complexities of the regulations regarding businesses. Ms. B, is so important that the church remember that it is a business. It is a business under the law. And as a business, there are certain mandates and regulations that you have to follow. And what we have seen as the nation's first ecclesiastical law center is that many of the churches don't know what the regulations require. They don't know much about compliance. They may attend one conference, come out of that conference and say, okay, we've got to keep our books right. We've got to take minutes for our board meetings. But there is so much more. We are monitoring over 200 plus cases that are involving pastors, boards of trustees, religious organizations, and nonprofit organizations that the only reason that they're in court is because of the fact that they just didn't know. There's just so much information they just didn't know. And so I wanted to make sure that my corporation, the Maximum Driven Results, addressed those type of issues through our training. But last year, well, in 2015, I get my years backwards, y'all. In 2015, we decided to go a step further. And we decided to offer pro bono and reduced legal services to those organizations that could not afford what we do.
All right, so there you have the Sacred Veil. Now, how did they get you started in having national programs?
Oh, goodness. Well, guys, this is what's so important. We were asked to do a summit or asked to do a conference, and we just didn't want to do a church conference. We didn't think that there should be another church conference. Every ecumenical organization is having a church conference. Everyone is telling you how to get empowered, how to get prepared, how to do this. But very few of those conferences are mixing the legal aspect with what is really going on with the organization. And so it left a void, and we wanted to fill that void. And so last year we put out a test conference. It was called the Sacred and Protected Church Beyond Compliance Legal Summit. And we had it last year at the Sanctuary Church at Kingdom Square in Capitol Heights, Maryland. The pastor is Pastor Anthony Macklin, and he basically partnered with us and several other churches. And we brought a 1.5-day event just to kind of test the market, you guys. We just wanted to know what you were interested in. And from those, more than 150 people were full-time registrants. And probably on Monday night when Bishop Joel Peoples presented, there was probably about 200 plus people in the room. I mean, the room was packed to hear him talk. We wanted to have every pastor understand what it feels like when you're actively involved in litigation. You know, how does that impact your church? This man, this wonderful pastor, lost his entire church. He lost the church that his family created. And the reason that he lost it, and even though there were lawyers working and there were dynamic lawyers, one of the things that we had said from the beginning of that case was you need to look at your infrastructure documents. What did your parents intend to create? His parents were the founders of that organization. Miss B, we can't believe how many pastors are founders of churches but don't have a founder's constitution. And so that was one of the, that's one of the reasons we started the conference, because there was so much that they just did not know.
All right, so we'll go to this one. I was glad to see it. That's what I so we'll move back to this one. And again, let's talk about caveat the thing. We have the rooms available for that summit. Give me a little bit about what's going on with that space and how they can participate in that.
Yeah. Hey guys, we need your help. Veterans Day weekend is quite an expensive weekend. You're going to hear from me a little later today because we're going to be filming from the actual site today. And you'll hear from me. And what I want you guys to understand is we put together a venue that brings in some of the best and brightest business minds. Over 20 speakers, over 16 activities. The way we have this structured is we have your day, except with the exception of Thursday and Saturday, we have your day planned out, so you don't have to think about anything. And because of that, we're asking that you help us with attrition. Help us by staying at the conference site. The original conference, the original registration or the original rooms were going for $189. I know for many of you that that's significant. I mean, we're in hard financial times across the world, so I would not ask anybody to pay that unless you really have to. However, what I want you to know is Veterans Day weekend, those rooms will be between $200 and $300 across the DC area. So you're not going to find anything cheaper. So guess what we did? Yesterday, we went back and we negotiated with the Renaissance Marriott Hotel a reduction in the room rate. That's right. So effective, I think it's going to come out, it'll be effective as well as Saturday, but if not, Monday. You will be able to book your rooms for $149. We have taken $40 off the room rate because we need you to stay there. Do you know what happens when people go to events and then they're staying someplace else? They get to everything late. They miss out on critical information. We want to make sure that doesn't happen. And you know how we did it? We're basically having food served all day long. So you can't say I have to run out somewhere, even though this is an area in Arlington that you are going to be swamped. There's more than 50 restaurants surrounding you. So if you want to get out and you want to have a good time, we're asking everybody, spend the weekend, spend Veterans Weekend on us. All you have to do, even if you're not coming to the summit, invite your friends to stay at the Renaissance Capitol View Hotel on Thursday, Friday night. Invite them to stay with us so that they can take advantage of this rate. All they have to do is say the 2017 Church at Risk Summit. Once they say that, you get the price. Say, I'm here to register for the 2017, I want a room with the 2017 Church at Risk Summit, or you can just say the Sacred Veil, or you can just say Church at Risk. If you've used any of those words, they're going to give you that special rate. If you don't, they're going to give you a higher rate. So we're asking you guys, you want your family to enjoy D.C. This hotel has views of the nation's capital that are spectacular. That's why they call it the Capitol View Hotel, because every room has a view of the Capitol. So bring your families down for Veterans Day weekend. Stay, hang out with us, attend one of our events. The great thing about the summit is that you don't have to register for the entire summit. We want you there. Yeah, if you ask me as one of the organizers, we want you there. We want you to attend the entire summit. However, if you can't and your schedule won't permit you to, then come. Stay the night with us on Thursday. Thursday's community forum is going to be off the chain. I don't know if the young people still say that, but it is going to be hot. It's going to be something that you want to experience. The community forum this year features Dr. Lance Watson out of St. Paul's Baptist Church, Richmond, Virginia. Bishop Rosetta Bryson, the lovely Bishop Rosetta Bryson from Word of Life Kingdom Church in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Dr. John Sibley from Harvard University School of Religious Studies. We also are going to have representatives. Oh, and I forgot to say, oh yeah, I'm doing the charge, your girl Michelle Rhett. One of the things, Miss B, that people complained about last year, they said that I didn't talk enough. I didn't speak, and I'm known to be a person that speaks all over the country about churches. And so they said she didn't speak. So I'm going to set the atmosphere November 9th, and I'm going to have 40, you count them, 40 young people with me. They call themselves the Singing Sensations Youth Choir of Baltimore, Maryland, under their founder, Dr. Holly Hood Mincy. We're going to be there, and they're going to help me present a charge to you like never before. It's already been written. We're already rehearsing it. And guess what it's called? It's called A Return to Sesame Street. You know why? Because the forum is called Divided We Fall. This particular event is going to discuss the divisions in the faith community, whether it's cultural, whether it's race, whether it's same-sex gender relationships, whether it's just a disagreement over the size of your church. We have found that churches have so many things in common. I don't understand why Sunday morning is the most segregated hour of the week, Miss B. I can't seem to put my finger on it. But we can go to lunch together, we can go to restaurants together, we can go to cultural events together, but when it comes to coming into a house of worship, this nation, these United States of America, remains divided and separate. And in this case, what we are learning is that just like the 1954 decision of Brown versus the Board of Education, separate is not equal.
Okay. For 27. Interfaith, I like that you put that in there. But what is your overall objective?
Yeah. The overall objective for me, as the founder of the Sacred Veil, is to make sure that we bring together the best and the brightest minds to help the faith-based community navigate through some of the hurdles that they currently face. This year's summit is called It's a Thin Line Between Church and State. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend 3 intense, or basically 15 trainings, 15 workshops, 3 plenary sessions, the community forum, the Innovation Awards Gala, the Corporate Awards Luncheon. All of the events of this summit will focus on those areas that there is very blurred lines with what is legal and what's not. You're singing someone else's song. What's the problem with that? Churches are being sued because you have to have a licensing agreement. So we want to focus on all of those areas. So we've got classes. We've got some of the best and the brightest. I'm getting ready to tell you who they are. But we've got classes in finance. Well, let me just back up. The summit has 3 tracks. So you can actually sign up for the classes that you want in advance, okay? So there's going to be law, leadership, and administration. And so in those 3 tracks are everything about those areas, because those are the areas that we see the most litigation in. So in our leadership track, we're going to cover, I'm teaching Ellis Crum, Coach Ellis Crum. Shout out to my co-host from the Great Divide, Ellis Crum, Coach Ellis. Coach Ellis and I are teaching a course called Sex, Money, and Hate, the new crimes to interfere with the church. This is a huge deal because we're going to talk about the most recent sex crimes, the most recent hate crimes, and of course the most recent money issues and disputes that are happening in the church. That's going to be on the leadership track. Also in the leadership track, we're going to have a session for board leaders, because the problem with many organizations is not the concept or the vision of the organization. My friends, the problem is the governing board. The governing board doesn't know how to be a governing board. And so Church at Risk has gone around for the last 2 years teaching on governing boards. And so we were asked last year by the participants, bring that to the summit. So we're doing everything you guys asked. Another leadership class, the nuts and bolts of your Constitution and bylaws. Attorney David Dupree out of Knoxville, Tennessee. He's our Southeastern Counsel for the Maximum Driven Results Group. He's going to be here. He teaches a remarkable class on what type of organization do you think you are. You had it in your mind to create a church or to create an outreach center, but what did you really create when you put it in writing? And that's just really important. That is significantly important. So those are the leadership classes. On the administrative side classes, oh my God, they've got some good stuff. They're going to be handling money. How do you regulate money? We've got Marcia Renee Tuck coming from Central Baptist in Baltimore. She's an accountant at Morgan State. She's worked all over the country, but she's now at Morgan State University in Baltimore. She'll be teaching on regulating and handling the church's money. We've got the dynamic minister Sean Anthony Varnado from the First Baptist Church of District Heights. He's a COO there, and he manages so many other organizations, talking about how you manage your organization with regard to money. And Sean is also teaching an administrative class that deals with the 2 roles. Miss B, at most churches, because of their size, we have a lot of people that are holding dual roles. And so because they're holding dual roles, they don't understand that one role that they're holding may trump the other role. You know what I'm saying? Let me explain it to you, because I want to make sure. I was asking you, Miss B, because I know you wear several hats. You know, we are, particularly as African Americans, are used to wearing 50,000 hats. But when it comes to business, there are laws which regulate what hat you can wear. Now, yeah, you can be over 2 things, but you have to be careful about it, that one can't control the other. I'll give you the greatest example. For 23 years, I have served as at the helm of the Maximum Driven Results Group. For some part of that years, I'd say 5 years, many years ago, I became the general counsel. I stepped down from CEO, became the general counsel, and then about 2010, when we created the Ecclesiastical Law Center, I went back to the position of CEO. So since 2010, for the last 7 years, I've been back as CEO. So I've been CEO of the Maximum Driven Results Group for 18 years. Okay? We created the Sacred Veil. The Sacred Veil is a separate and distinct civil rights organization that is separate from the MDR group. The MDR group doesn't control it. How do we know? The law is going to say who runs it. Well, the board of directors that runs the Sacred Veil is not me. I am the executive director. I am responsible for the everyday needs of the organization, including our biggest project, the 2017 Interfaith National Summit. Okay, so what I want churches to understand is there's no law that mandates that a pastor or a leader in a church can't hold 2 to 3 positions. The question is, what is the relationship in those positions, and whether there is a conflict of interest in your serving in those roles. Okay, so you can't be the CEO of a for-profit company and the CEO of its nonprofit. The reason is because the board of the for-profit is deemed to make the decisions for the board of the nonprofit. That's a conflict of interest. They're getting in trouble at massive numbers, Miss B. Massive numbers. So let me tell you just about some of the great incredible speakers. On Thursday, Thursday and Friday, we have got the girl of all girls. We've got Dr. Sharon Sauls. Sharon Sauls from Be-Led Consulting out of Annapolis, Maryland is just absolutely amazing. She goes around the country and she teaches on leadership to churches. She teaches strategies. How do you engage the community? Churches often complain, Miss B, that they're not growing. They say that we're not growing, we can't get the right members, people don't tithe, they say all these things. But what they don't realize is, as I said in the beginning, the church is a business. The business belongs to God. Jesus is the CEO. And so if you're going to be promoting a church, you have to come up with strategic ways in order to get people to believe in your message, or not just your message, but to adopt your message. Because as we realize from John Maxwell, people don't necessarily accept your vision all the time. They like the leader. And if they can like the leader and adjust to the leader, then they can accept the leader's vision. That's what Mahatma Gandhi taught us. If they liked Mahatma Gandhi. People loved Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. People loved John F. Kennedy. So there are people in history that we've known, such as Oprah Winfrey. People may not agree with everything that Oprah does, but they love Oprah. And so what Sharon Sauls does is, Dr. Sauls, she goes out and she teaches churches how to do better engagement. How do they vision cast better? And speaking of Sharon Sauls, we also have the dynamic Yvette Haynes coming from Charleston, South Carolina. Yvette Haynes is the most dynamic vision coach for a church you can get. Why? This woman puts your vision in print and has been able to get 501c3 applications cleared with the IRS in less than 6 months for churches. No one can attest to that. This girl is bad to the bone. And she's coming to show our pastors and our leaders and our organization how you cast your vision so that the IRS adopts it. Okay, so you've got Dr. Sharon Sauls, you've got Evita, you've got oh my goodness, I can go on and on. Diana Oliver from the DB Oliver Insurance Agency, one woman that has more than 400 clients now in insurance. She represents a litany of organizations, but her approach has been so different, and we want her to talk to our audience about how do you build a business from scratch. So that's why we said we've got business leaders coming in here. We've got the vice president of T-Mobile Corporation herself, Ms. Kenya Dunn, will be here with us on Thursday and Friday. Of course, we've got the incredible Bishop Rosetta Bryson out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I don't know if you guys remember Rosetta Bryson in this area, but she was probably the youngest head when Marion Barry was the mayor of D.C. She led the Religious Affairs Organization. That's why she's coming. She has a human rights activist organization. They raise tons of money. They do incredible work for the kingdom. And she's going to be with us every day. She's doing a workshop on Thursday, as well as Dr. Sharon Sauls. I'm doing a workshop. The dynamic founder of Wise Word Ministries, Elder Angela Thornton, does a class that she did last year. And everybody said, bring it back. It's called The Evolution of the Church. I don't know if you remember, Miss B, but this class was absolutely remarkable. The Evolution of the Church. And so I want to make sure Miss B is still here, but I want to make sure that you guys avail yourself. Angela's going to be teaching on Thursday. She's going to be speaking as well on Friday. It's just going to be incredible. Ellis Crum is speaking on Thursday. And as I said, then we've got the evenings events. So I want to let you guys know that there is an art gallery this year. So we're doing something a lot different at this venue. There's an art gallery. It's called a Social Justice Art Gallery. And it focuses on those images that have brought us all to tears. Maybe some of them you have seen, and some of them you have not seen. And this art gallery is being promoted by the Millennial Group. And so the Millennial Group of the Summit is being sponsored by my niece, Christine Rhett. And Christine Rhett is a 2017 honors, top of her class, graduate of the School of Visual Arts in Manhattan, New York. And so she's going to be here. She's designed these t-shirts. We've got this theme going for social justice because we want us to all remember the responsibility that the faith-based community has in the rest of the world. We can't turn our heads off and say that we're no longer interested in what's going on because Donald Trump is the president. It is time for all of us to get actively involved. And so that's why we're going to have this dynamic art gallery. And then we've got this opening reception at 6 o'clock on Thursday the 9th. You don't want to miss it. You get to see the art gallery. You get to hear some of the things that the Sacred Veil is doing. We'll have some keynote speakers doing that. They'll just be kind of giving hellos. And all through the night, we've got many corporations coming and basically saying to you, hello, who they are, what they do, and why they feel that you are most important to them. I want to make sure that we know who's out there that can help us, okay? And that's before the community forum, which is, of course, Divided We Fall. And I mentioned the speakers to you on that. Ms. B? Okay. I can barely hear you, but I can hear you. Mark, can you get a fan? We have what's called Ask the Experts, and that is private business and legal consultation. It comes free with your registration ticket. So if you have a registration pass or a badge, you can actually sign up to get coaching. This is executive coaching, which normally costs $1,000 an hour. This is executive coaching. Dr. Fred Snowden, Attorney Nicole Flanagan, Dr. Myra B. Robinson. I mean, we've got Dr. Sharon Sauls, who I mentioned earlier. We've got Dr. David Dupree, Sean Varnado. All of us are getting together to bring you these incredible sessions where you can present a problem in your church or a problem in your organization, and we're going to work with you into finding the solution. Never before has this ever been done at any event. This is new, and we're offering it to you free with your registration. So you get that. You know, something that would cost you $500 to $1,000, we're giving it to you because we want you to know that we're here to support our communities, and whatever we can do for our communities, we're going to do. So how do you get in touch with me? I'm at Michelle Rhett at Facebook. You can also look at our Church at Risk Facebook page. Join it, like it, please, please. Twitter, MD Rhett. Twitter, Church at Risk. Church at Risk National Summit Facebook page as well. LinkedIn, Michelle Rhett. Let me see, what else? There's so much. The website for the summit, that's the biggest thing, right? Okay, so the website for the summit, goodness, we can't forget that. The website for the summit, www.churchnationalsummit.com. www.churchnationalsummit.com. You can even call us. There is a number to call. Oh, Miss B, it's 301-965-0194. I'll repeat it again, my love. 301-965-0194. You're going to be hearing a lot about this summit in the next 5 weeks. Listen, don't sit back, don't wait, don't procrastinate. It's going to fill up. We're not going to have the space in the private consultations. I can tell you that now, and if you wait till the last minute. And let me challenge every one of you out there that has an organization, that has a governing board. Send your leaders. We have got about 17 churches that are going to be sending their entire boards. And so we're asking you, send your leaders, not just your board of trustees or your board of directors. Send the people that you hold out as leaders to this summit. Those are the people that's causing you to lose the most money. I want to help you. I'm here for you. This is your girl, Michelle Rhett. But listen, let me tell you, the summit, Miss B, what's important is who's behind this summit. The summit has a great group of people behind it. We've got more than 22 organizations behind this summit. But let me tell you who the co-chairs are. So if you don't get me, you can go after them. Bishop Harry Eugene, I know you didn't want me to say that, H. Eugene Bellinger, out of the Cathedral of the Covenant Church of Columbus, Ohio. He is a 2016 recipient of the Innovation Award. He's one of the co-chairs. Attorney Nicole Flanagan. This sister is bad to the bone. She is the woman behind such the nonprofit strategies and the nonprofit legal rules and regulations, and she's phenomenal. Of course, your girl, Michelle Rhett, the executive director of the Sacred Veil and the founder of this summit. And then, of course, the dynamic pastor, Michelle C. Thomas from Holy and Whole Church in Lansdowne, Virginia. Michelle T. Thomas is a beast. She is the executive director of the Freedom Foundation or the Freedom Center in Loudoun County, Virginia. They're doing some awesome work. We're going to be talking about that later on our shows. And, of course, Reverend Timothy McFadden from Concord Baptist Church and the senior pastor of Church of the Messiah out of Baltimore. We had to have a Baltimore connection. So those are some of the summit chairs. So look them up. We are all on Facebook. So you will see us posting there. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Ms. B. Thank you for the time that you guys have given me. My Facebook family sees that I'm sweating bullets here because I get so excited. I'm headed into a conference call, and then I'm headed to the Renaissance Capitol View Hotel so that you guys will be able to see this dynamic space. It's going to be filmed live today. Talk to you soon. Thanks, Miss B.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Michelle.
All right. Bye-bye. Bye, everybody.